Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and today I'm reviewing Potions of Azerland from Warped Reality Games. Potions of Azerland is a 1-4 player contract fulfillment game in which players are trying to gather the ingredients they need in order to craft potions to use them for their own abilities, as well as to fulfill the variety of customers in order to get as many points as possible across 6 rounds of play. That's a mouthful, but I think that actually kind of worked. But past that, this over here, this is a prototype, all rules and components subject to change, and I'll have a link to the crowdfunding campaign down below. But with that, Potions of Azerland, like I said already, a 1-4 player contract fulfillment game. In this game, you're going to go through a sequence in each round, and I'll walk you through that sequence, but the core aspects, like I said already, gather ingredients, brew potions, utilize those potions, improve your abilities, gather customers, both for their points, for their abilities, and possibly for their ongoing, infinite, whatever abilities that last the whole entire game, and do that more efficiently than other players as you work your way towards victory points. To that end, the round flow you're going to take every single turn is the first thing you're going to do is you're going to move visitors to town. You're going to have a bunch of visitors that are coming in future rounds, so you can see what's happening, so you can plan around them even if they are not available yet. And over here we do have the town villagers, which will either be fulfilled or just hang around until they actually have their orders fulfilled, because they're not going anywhere. They want those potions, they need those potions, and you and your fellow players are the only players who can actually fulfill those potion orders. Past that, so you're going to go ahead and ready the town over here. You're going to reveal the round goals that are going to give you either bonuses or various things, various points to strive for in the game. And then you go to the order priority tiles and place priority holder, meaning players have their own little priority holder that's going to go face down so no one else can see as they sit there and decide what their priority for each action is and when they want to take the action versus when they want to take the actual coins that come with the action in this little grid over here. So you're trying to think through how you're going to prioritize your actions across the 5 core actions in the round. Once you're done with that, you're going to go ahead and drink potions. We're not going to resolve this yet. We'll talk about this in a second, but you're going to go ahead and drink potions. To that end, you can go ahead and utilize the potions that you've already constructed in the game to get various benefits for them. Alternatively, you can hold on to them and save them for customers, so you're trying to figure out what makes the most sense for you. But you're going to have these 3 potion types over here, and you're going to be able to utilize these potions, if you have them, for the benefits depending on how good you are at the whole potion making game. Meaning, over here you have a chart of abilities for each potion, and you have a little track over here that's going to show you how good you are at various different things, which thresholds you've crossed as you're trying to make your potions better. And so you can utilize, if you go ahead and drink a red potion, you can utilize the red ability or whatever level lower than your red ability. So you can always use the lower abilities as well, but you are powering up your abilities, and they'll do different things for you, which some of these things, let's talk more about the things they do for you, but a little bit later when the potions make sense. But right about now, in step 3, you can go ahead and drink potions, which brings us to step 4, which is where you're going to go ahead and reveal your tile holders, and then go through the actions, taking the actions one at a time, depending on where you are. This is where, depending on player count, you'll get different benefits for what it's like to be first, second, third, or fourth in the worker placement, in the order placement as you go through this. But let's explain each of the actions, starting with Forage. Forage is going to allow you to roll a bunch of Forage dice. Now you can roll more Forage dice, and again, this depends on the player count. It's either 4-2, 4-3-2, or 4-3-3-2 in terms of the bonuses you get. In other words, if you are the person who's taking the highest priority Forage action, you're always rolling 4 dice. But if you're second place in a 2-player game, you're rolling 2 dice. In a 3-player game, or a 4-player game, you're rolling 3 dice for that action. So there's a different tier of how it works. But right now, let's just assume it's 4 and 2 in a 2-player experience, just so it's simpler to explain. So the person who went first goes ahead and rolls 4 Forge dice, taking the various benefits on those dice. The player who went second in a 2-player game rolls 2 Forge dice, taking the benefits on those dice. That's for the Forge action. Now again, remember, if you didn't want to take the Forge action for one reason or another, you can go ahead and take coins instead, but you have to have planned that while you're going through it. This is also a good time to talk about assistance. Assistance can be used on Forge, Study, and Brew to power up that action. If a player decides to trade in 3 assistants doing this action, they'll strengthen that action and be able to roll an additional 3 dice in addition to the other 4 they're already rolling and get more goods from that. So the Forge action is kind of a, it's exactly like what foraging is. You wander off into the wilds, you try to gather ingredients. Those ingredients can be utilized to brew potions over here. You can see the potion cost for each thing. So each potion has a various component and ingredient structure, and you're going to be trying to brew potions. The second action is going to be studying. In the study action, you're going to go ahead and advance your tracker on this grid over here. Again, 4-3-2, 4-2, etc. So the first person gets to move their markers up 4 on this track, and in a 2-player game, the second person gets to move their markers up 2 on this track, and that's the thing that's going to make your potions stronger in the game and give you more points for when you go ahead and sell those potions to the various consumers in the marketplace. You'll also get more points for having better potion knowledge, expertise, etc. That's going to be the study action. The market action is going to allow you to take cards cards from this market over here. This one over here is slightly different in the sense that this one gives you first access. It doesn't give you more cards. So the person who has the highest priority order goes first to the market and can buy whatever cards they need over here, being able to utilize those cards for whatever they need, for whatever benefits that cards will give them, moving 4 up on this track, giving certain ingredients, things like that, getting more assistance. But you do have to go ahead and pay for those cards, and so it's not about getting 4 cards, 3 cards, or 2 cards. It's just order of priority, and yes, that well means that you might be the third person in the market, and if the first 2 people had banks full of coins and used them effectively, you may have nothing left to buy at the market. The next action over here is going to be brew, which is going to be how you go ahead and brew those potions. But again, brewing 4, 3, 2, etc. potions depending on your priority level in order to go ahead and trade the ingredients in and brew the potions. And the last is fulfill, where again it is about turn order, and fulfilling is going to be about having first access to fulfilling one of these customers in the pool, and then going ahead and trading in the potions you need to get the points on the customer, as well as to get the either one-time benefit, the once around benefit, the ongoing benefits. There's a bunch of abilities over here. We have an ongoing once per round benefit. So you have endgame benefits, all these different types of benefits you can go ahead and have over here. Again, get 3 coins, get an extra potion get extra point for every yellow potion you provided. Once per round, when you go ahead and drink a potion, you can go ahead and get a coin. So there's going to be various benefits you can get, ongoing, one-time use, etc. Plus, of course, the key thing, which is the points you are trading in for as you go ahead and fulfill these customers' orders. And those are the 5 core actions you take every single round as you slot here these cards over here, as you try to plan around what is going to drive your engine up the most as you go through it. You're going to go ahead and do that. That will finish out the round, and then you're going to go ahead to the next round, rinse and repeat across 6 rounds. So once again, now that you understand the overall structure of things, every single round you're going to start off by revealing the new customers that are coming to town, and then dealing with the round bonuses. Then you're going to go ahead and order your own priority tiles in your own personal private grid, planning around what you think is going to help serve you the most. Then you can drink potions for various abilities. Here's an example. I can start telling you some of these abilities. Over here, for example, you can simply move up. If you move to the level 2 blue potion over here, you can start going ahead and trading in and drinking a blue potion to move up 6 on these tracks, which can be incredibly helpful. Over here, this red potion will have you stealing coins from all the other players. This one over here is incredibly useful because it will not only give you 2 coins, but it will let you draw 2 personal black market cards over here that are going to go into your own personal grid, giving you more opportunity. You still have to buy them, but that means if you're going late to the black market, you're never ever really going to have a completely be shut out of it, so it gives you a lot of flexibility. These are just some of the various abilities you have over there, just so you can get a sampling of what these cards are like. And so you go ahead and drink potions in step 3, and then finally in step 4, again, you reveal and go through the 5 core actions of the game, trying to gather ingredients, gather black market cards, brew potions, doing, what was the last one? Brew potions, studying up on this track over here, and then fulfilling various orders as you go through the game. And that is how you play Potions of Azerland, which brings us to the review, starting off with ease of play. The rulebook in this one is very straightforward. The actions are very easy to follow. This is a well put together rulebook, a game that teaches in maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Again, the rulebook is incredibly clear, both from the actual current structure as well as clarity on every single thing. They have a nice part in the rulebook where every single customer card does have a little number, so it's listed perfectly. Any questions you have on the customers, on the visitors, can be clarified. So overall, very easy game to dive into. Games take roughly an hour, could go a little faster at lower player counts, especially if you know the game, and could go a little longer at higher player counts, especially if you don't know the game. As far as what I like, don't like, and can see others not liking, starting off with what I like over here, which is the action economy system, and more specifically the planning around how you're going to take your actions in the game. This forces you to evaluate every single round what is most important to you, what is going to give you the most points, what's going to drive your engine forward. And that gives you a lot of decision space both around, is an action helpful at all? Would you rather have the coins? How important is it to get to the black market first? Do you just want to go ahead and forage? What do you think other players are going to do? That's a big part of it as well, not just thinking what's important to you, but trying to plan around what's important to other players. If I can correctly predict, that action is not that important for you, I might be able to lock in first place by bidding a fairly low tile while still saving my higher tile for whatever I need. It's also worth noting there's a lot of rules we didn't get into, such as what happens if there's a tie. If you both placed a 3, what happens? Well, you look at who has the cauldrons over here, you go ahead and prioritize based on the cauldrons, and then you swap the cauldrons. And again, depending on player count, you're going to swap the cauldrons, so that the next time there's a tie, that decision tree is reversed. So there are things in place for that, but there's a lot of decisions just around the action economy of trying to plan out what actions are important to you across the course of the game. Then you combine that with the abilities, and there's 2 kinds of abilities in play that I really enjoy. First of all is going to be the customers that give you ongoing abilities. One-time abilities are nice, make no mistake. I don't mind getting a bunch of coins or getting some extra points or things like that. Those are all nice things. For me though, the ongoing abilities or the point scoring abilities, those to me matter a lot more because they give me something to drive for past the card that I just got, but rather an overarching strategy to work around or something to plan for. So I like the points as well as the ongoing abilities far more. And then that's true over here as well. Moving up this track over here, moving up the studying track is going to go ahead and give you more and better abilities that you can utilize. And so that means as the game progresses, you are getting more done. As the game progresses, you are getting better at how to drive your engine forward. And so I like the overall abilities that are there. The art and production in general are top notch. This is obviously illustrated by Andrew Bosley, and just both the art and production. And again, this is very much a prototype. This is going to be, this is not the final version of whatever game you have access to. And so I assume it's only going to get better from where it is, and where it is already pretty solid. And so the general way everything combines just gives you a lot to think about as far as every aspect is important. Every avenue is important, but what you go for, what you strive for, and how you react to other players at the table, and based on what they're going for, means this game both gives you powers and abilities. It gives you a tableau that grows. It gives you an action economy to be mindful of. It gives you a thought process and a system to think around as you decide what is important to you each and every single round. As far as what I don't like in the game, my biggest complaint is the main thing that holds this game back for me, or my only complaint I should really say, which is the game feels almost too balanced, which I recognize is a weird complaint, but what I mean by that is nothing seems overly powerful. There's a lot of stuff that's present. There's a lot of things that you're moving up the track. You get various new abilities. You have new things over here, but a lot of things feel it feels very contract fulfillment. It feels very tit for tat. You trade in this, you get that thing. You have these 2 potions, I could drink them, I could do that. Nothing really gives you a strong feeling of, well, this thing I started doing feels really strong, or these combinations of actions just feel like I built something very cool and powerful, which is something that can often be associated with games that are to a certain extent broken, but you don't have the ability to build out something that feels incredibly cool and powerful. Rather, it's about those small movements. It's about being slightly more efficient at how you gathered ingredients, slightly better at which market cards suited your engine, slightly better at which customers work together. It's all about slight changes that all produce an end result that has you hopefully winning the game. But there's no there's no point in the game where you're like, oh my gosh, this ability, that ability, I've been working towards that all game, and now suddenly I can do X, Y, and Z. That doesn't happen in this game. It feels like it's a very, very specifically stepping stones of ability after ability or system after system that all chains together nicely to give you a very fine-tuned, very balanced engine, but also one that doesn't give you any highs of, look at that cool thing I just did, or look at how this game played out differently or better or whatever than any other game before it. As far as what I can see others not liking, a few small things. First of all is that the losing priority on the potion swap can be very unfulfilling, so can planning inefficiently around other players. You can have a board set up where you kind of lose by 1 to each person, so you kind of end up being second or third on everything just because you misplaced how things are relative to other people. I'd have to show you the whole boards and play it out, but effectively you can lose everything. It's not a game where you're guaranteed to be like faster or this and better than that. If you're playing a 2-player game, you might win one thing and be lower on every single other thing depending on how it scales. So you will have turns where you just didn't feel you got anything, and that can happen. And I'll say secondly is when you're dealing with customers or you're dealing with black market cards, sure, with certain things is more planning. Do you get 4 dice, do you get 3 dice, or do you get 2 dice? There's more like control around how that plays out and more understanding of the consequences compared to not getting a customer because you're last in turn order, or even worse, not getting any black market cards at all as you go through the game. That can be a much more punishing feeling to like try to bid to get cards and just have them swept out from under you. And so you will have those small moments of just not getting what you want. I'd say the biggest thing that can be a problem for players is that this is a game where you can plan things out and try your best and just have it work out that you don't get what you want. You don't roll the right dice. The right market cards don't show up. The customer that you needed to buy is taken. You could have those games play out in Potions of Azerland. As far as final thoughts on Potions of Azerland, I overall enjoyed the game. I think it's really well put together and it gives you a lot of overall fun moments. For me, it's one that the biggest complaint is again, it's a slightly weird one. It's like the game's almost too balanced, but it's an experience I've had before with many other games where sometimes games are very well designed and very well balanced in a way that gives you a challenging engine to try to optimize your way through, but sometimes it doesn't necessarily give you those cooler moments where you get to change certain things. Like, what comes to mind as an example would be a game like Castle of Burgundy, which I believe the design actually had some inspiration from Castle of Burgundy, the overall structure of it, but Castle of Burgundy is a game that is very fine-tuned, very well balanced, but there's always going to be that combination of, look, I placed this building, let me get that, and place this, and gather that, and look at the strong, powerful turn I had. that's something that for me, I like those moments in games. I like those moments in Euro games where you chain together 4 or 5 things in a way that just becomes incredibly satisfying, but it did take a bunch of things working out well for that to happen. For me, I just didn't have those moments in Potions of Azerland. It felt like everything worked well. This is a fun game. I've enjoyed playing this. I don't think I'd ever turn down a game of it. I like it, but I just want a little bit more chaos, a little bit more powers and abilities, or things that gives you. And I know I love powers and abilities. It's a problem I have, but either way, the net result is I enjoy Potions of Azerland. I like Potions of Azerland. I'd happily play Potions of Azerland. I feel I want a drop more of a spark. So for me, overall, this is a 3.5 out of 5. A game I very much enjoyed, and also wish I could do a drop more things. Just give me more customers that have ongoing abilities. That could possibly break the game in a way that makes it worse for everyone else, but a little better for me. In any case, as far as other game recommendations, first of all, if you're looking for other contract fulfillment games that give you different degrees of charm, there's going to be Viticulture from Stonemaier Games. It's a common, game. You're going to be trying to get various wine, trade that into various customers. Standard contract fulfillment, nowhere near the production or presentations of Potions of Azerland, but a classic for a reason. And if you're looking for another game from Andrew Bosley, it's going to have a degree of trying to gather resources, more so to build out your people and your buildings. But Everdell is a excellent game, one that has held up for a long time in my collection, and one that's just generally well rated, has tons of expansions, tons of offshoots, but Everdell is another one I would recommend looking into if you are intrigued by this. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.